We are live.
Okay, Barb. We didn't have a meeting last in October because of a lot of conflict, so we have no people here. Looking over October's minutes, any corrections, deletions?
I move we accept.
Do I have a second? Sherry,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Barb, you can do roll call if you want.
Okay, Tom,
Yep.
Jason
Yep.
is coming. Dave,
He's excused.
Sherry. Yep. Chris,
Here.
Annette,
Here.
Tandra,
Excused.
Barb's here. Sean,
He's excused.
sorry, Bernie,
Here.
Linda,
Here.
Larry,
Excused.
and Devin.
I did not hear from Devin, so I'm not sure if he's able to make it.
Gus,
Two guests, Tim Schwander and Craig Hofer.
Craig,
Okay, under old business.
You may start with Savista, is that, we'll start with that since we have,
Let's start with the,
Somebody start with Savista.
yeah, we'll come back.
So the ice skating rink, we did a soft opening on Tuesday, November 23rd. And then we officially opened that Friday night after Thanksgiving. I have attached for you on the ice skating rink the numbers. We're open typically Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays. So this past weekend, we had Winter Wonderland, which we had on Friday night, we had 152 skaters, and on Saturday, we had 222 skaters.
how do you keep track?
In rec desk, we have our point of sales with our rec desk. So anybody that comes in, whether they are a paying customer or they're free, we enter them into our point of sales and it totals it for me.
Any questions?
The Savista night tomorrow night was supposed to be a free night sponsored. Due to the weather, we are postponing it. We're postponing it to January 5th. We're supposed to get almost a half an inch of rain in the morning, and then the winds are coming in. At one point, it showed 0% chance of rain tomorrow night. Now it's back up to 40%. I just don't know what our turnout would be, so I would rather we go ahead. We've already posted it on Facebook to go ahead and postpone it, that we thought it was better to just postpone it than to try to run it. Savista, they are the sponsor of our rink, so they usually do a night where they give free hot chocolate, it's free skate rental, which Savista does reimburse us for, and they do giveaways. Last year, they gave away hats. I'm not sure what they're doing this year, but they're all on board to do it again on January 5th.
so since we postponed, it'll be a beautiful night tomorrow night.
On those big number nights, could you give me an approximation of the percentage of people that come down that have skates?
Percentage that have skates, I would say you're looking at probably a dozen to 15 people might have skates. Majority of them are skate rentals.
So there's just not much skating going around Sandusky, and so they don't have skates. So-
Right, it's not something. Mhm.
Okay. The ice hasn't melted or anything.
Not yet. I will let you know that we have gotten a lot of positive feedback from anywhere from the size, they like the increased size of the rink. Because we did put that maintenance plan in, where we do have, we take a floor machine and we clean it with a solution, and then we have an enhancer that we place on it, which allows it, it's almost like a Vaseline that's for this type of surface, and it does go ahead and make it a little bit, it makes it faster. The key is keeping it clean. So, and then I believe these skates this year are different than the ones we had last year, and these are much better skates. They seem to, we've had no problems with them, and I think they seem to do a better job out there when they're skating.
Had a few returners too. People showed up Friday and came back Saturday.
Sure.
Did Saturday and Sunday, so.
I will let you know, we have hosted some special skates. We had, last week, we had the high school special ed class came out, with Laney Beer brought them out. It was just a time for they could just come out and just kind of get on the ice. Some of them, and at that point, we let some come on with shoes, because, some of them aren't able to put skates on. But that really was a positive experience for them, and I believe Lainey and I are working on another set where we're going to do that. And we are also going to have a day where we'll bring in the gentlemen's club and the leading ladies. It'll be their special day to come in and skate, too.
Certainly for the variable weather we have, like you're talking about rain, there's no question that the ice that we have is the best that we can do. There's no way we want to depend on the weather to have. There's just no way. So.
Right.
At least this time of year.
And this time of year is so, like it is so weather dependent, and like, when we had the high winds, it's just not an enjoyable time, and people aren't going to come down. So we did close early one night, and then we actually closed early one night, and we canceled one day just because of the high winds. But overall, I think it's been a positive experience. Really, the vendor we're working with has been very receptive to if we need anything. So that has been pretty smooth. It was, like I said, we needed some additional pieces for our dasher boards, and we had them within 2 days. So he was very good to work with. So overall, I think it's been a positive experience.
Next up. Just got a few follow-ups since we didn't have our November meeting. The downtown trick-or-treat that seems like it was about a year ago went really well. We had perfect weather, low winds, so the pumpkin drop went really well with about 25 to 30 pumpkins getting dropped. The Good Time Cruise happened, so a lot of people got a free cruise on the Good Time.
Okay.
And we still need to work on getting folks, it seems like a lot of folks come on Columbus and they will hit Shade Mile or Plaza and they don't go too far to the east or west. So some placemaking or some signage or a map would probably help out for next year to get folks down the Market Streets and Water Streets into those businesses that are down there. Sorry, not all the way to Cleveland Road, Craig. The race before the game, which was the day after the holiday lighting ceremony, we had about normal, like each year we have about 125 participants. About 10 to 15 of those are for the team up north, and it went really well. That day was picture perfect as well. So we lucked out on some of these weather events, and it feedback was good. We had a lot of new folks. We had some people that were just in town for Thanksgiving weekend and their family was doing it, so they did the event as well. And then, as Annette had mentioned, our Winter Wonderland, we ran into a little bit of weather late Friday night, but otherwise the pavilion had people throughout both days and nights. We had Seeing Scarlet, which was a high school band that is now somewhat of a college band playing on Saturday, and then we had the Acoustics come from BGSU. They had just finished their finals and jumped on a bus to sing Friday night, and that was pretty well received as well. So having 222 people at the ice rink on one day, I think, it shows if you have programming down there that accompanies winter programming, we can get folks to come out. I think people still want to do something. It's just providing something that's an outlet to do that. Any questions on those 3 events?
We'll come back to the golf course once we get Beth here. Let's move on to new business.
Chris, do you want to discuss the RFQ?
Yeah, so we'll be sending out an RFQ this Monday, the 19th, for the Recreation Center. And what we're looking for is an architect that can help us with the site location and then conceptual drawings. We want to have those done no later than August of '23.
I will take B, the winter break camp and out-of-school program, since Tandra's not here. You may have it, I don't know if everyone got one, it's our winter break guide. The first 3 pages are out and ready to go. That's our out-of-school winter camp, our winter break camp, which we do every year, and then also our Midtown Supper Club. Midtown Supper Club, they did interviews for those interested in doing that one, so the culinary portion of Midtown Supper Club is full. The other 3 components would be the theater, the dance, and theater, dance, sewing, and I'm missing one. I should have had it right in front of me. Music with Mohawk, yeah, music with Mohawk. Those are still, there's still places available in that, and with those programs, some of those components, the theater and the music, those are also being done as part of our out-of-school programming, so the more set programs through Midtown Supper Club are interest-based, 6 to 8 weeks of a program, and there is a cost associated with those due to the bringing in independent contractors to do those programs, and we also have youth scholarships available for those programs like we do with every program that we have for city residents. Hi, Beth.
Week 1 has 91 pre-registered so far.
For winter break camp?
Week 2 has 22 so far.
So those dates are on there. It's the 3, was it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of each week of winter break. We started that out at Sandusky High School, and now that we have the facility at Mills, it's been seamless getting those programs over there. Any questions on winter break camp or those programs? We'll be releasing more pages as we confirm some of the other programs that we're going to have. 2023 Recreation Board members and meetings. Sherry and Bernie were up and have said that they want to continue to be on our rec board, so thank you. And hopefully we'll get Larry back in here soon to attend our meetings. I know he's been around, he's been to the golf course, which is good to see him out there, and he was voting. I saw him on election day, so talked to him a little bit there too. We do need to discuss the meetings if we want to keep the meetings the second Wednesday of the month. And discussion just happened even before this meeting, whether we want to do them a little bit later or still keep them at 4 o'clock. So it's up for discussion.
Beth, you need to move it back? Barb?
I like this time.
I do too. We just gotta
4
make sure
o'clock's good for me.
if 4 o'clock works.
Jerry?
It's not
4 good for you?
Anytime's good for me, so 4:30 isn't better for you girls.
No.
There you go. We thought we were rushing you guys, so that's why you were late.
No, we're just coming from another meeting and folks wanna.
That's just
Be
every
long.
once in a
4
while.
o'clock then.
4 o'clock?
Every Wednesday,
Every Wednesday?
or every second Wednesday, but it's usually we're done before now. We had a windy teacher.
And then we've also had discussions about the location for the meetings, and I did talk with our law director, and there isn't really anything that that it has to be in this location. It just has been, and that's something that, having the recording and having this facility is nice to be able to do that, but we are able, if we wanted to take a meeting or something over and have it over at Mills. I know when we were doing this years ago, it was every park, we'd try and hit every park and get out into the parks, but
So it doesn't have to be recorded.
since we keep minutes, but they would just prefer that they're all recorded because it's easier to keep track of every meeting that's in here, but it's an ongoing conversation that we will take a look at.
We come back January.
Yeah, okay,
It's nice when it's outside and the weather's good.
Yes.
yeah, I agree.
So going back to old business. Annette?
So we need to, we're going to do an update on Mills. So probably in September, I brought to you that we would like to do an increase to some of our rates. I have included that in the packet, just a few. And we actually, Jonathan, we had discussion with Jonathan, and we would like to move forward with it. Our current cart rate is $7. We're proposing to move it to $8, just because of the increase in gas. That was one of my budget busters this year, was gas prices. And then we'd like to increase the membership rate by $25. And these wouldn't go in effect until January. So we still are selling passes now if anybody wanted to get next year's rate at this current rate. Now, the 9-hole scramble and the 18-hole scramble, we're proposing to do a $1 increase on the 9-hole scramble. And the 18-hole, it's a little bit more, it's $5, but we're so low on it, we have to play catch up at this point. $26 for 18 holes in a cart is extremely cheap. So I've checked other ones, and you're talking 35 to 50, even 9-hole courses. So I know that was a question that was brought to my attention, and we just did it because we just wanted to get in line with other places. So this is what we're proposing. I went off of the 2021 numbers to see what proposed revenue we could increase by, and that's where I came up with $11,375. So that's what we are proposing for 2023 season. Questions?
So I need a motion to present this to the city commission.
Yes.
If the rates seem reasonable, I motion that we do that.
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? You said January 1st in that
Yep,
proposal?
yep.
So the rates that aren't here are going to stay the same?
Correct, until the end of the year.
So we need to pass.
So if anybody
your
needs
I'm
it,
talking about the daily rates,
yes, the daily rates are not changing.
that's what I meant.
We changed those last program year,
Right.
and we're pretty much in line at that point, though. And like I said, we just changed the carts just because of the gas. So just some other information about Mills Creek, just wanted to go through. I'm sure everybody is aware of this. On November 3rd, we received notification from Department of Natural Resources that we did receive a grant in the amount of $15,294 from NatureWorks, and that is to install the money towards installation of the cart path, which would also be a walking trail in the winter months. We are hoping to supplement that with some capital dollars to make sure that it would be a complete loop around the golf course. So we have not officially signed our contract with that, so we can't start working on the cart path until 2023. So we'll start that early, hopefully over the winter months, that we'll be able to get that installed. We were able to install 28 trees. Corso's received the bid for that. That money was thanks to Aaron Klein. They had some extra money in one of their budgets that they wanted to use, so that was no cost to the golf course. We added them on holes number 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. So we added 28 trees. January 11th, we've set up a meeting with Cleveland Metro Parks Golf Superintendent. He's agreed to come out and meet. Bernie, if you'd like to join that day, it's a Wednesday, January 11th at 10 o'clock. They'd like to meet with a few advisory members. And we are going to kind of pick his brains on some updates and some different things that we'd like to do. Mainly, we want to, as what the advisory had said, we'd like to look at Mills Creek as a year-round facility and not just a golf facility. So we are looking at possibly doing snowshoes in the winter months. I did find a program that we could purchase snowshoes at half price. So that's something we're going to be looking at. He's also going to bring us some information on cross-country skis. So that is January 11th. We are getting cameras installed out at Mills. We have had a couple incidents of some vandalism, along with, we had 2 carts that were taken but recovered. So, and just because of, we've had an increase of members there just for safety of not, with the staff, especially in our evening staff, who is normally, it's usually one person there, and they just can't see everything. So we are getting those installed, and that came out of a different fund.
It was IT. I think IT.
I believe IT picked that up. So that will be installed in the clubhouse, along the barns, both the personal cart barn and the cart barn. So those were coming as well.
I'm going to check my schedule, I'm going to try to make that.
Okay, perfect. I know Tim McKenna is going to be there as well. And then we'll report back to the advisory committee, and we'll get that ball rolling. I did do a revenue. You have 2 sheets there. There's your monthly breakdown and your revenue. To date, we are at $258,529.75. That is $9,388.30 more than 2021. So we did get an increase. So, and we're looking, like I said, we're looking at seeing different ways that we can generate revenue, bring in more programmings, et cetera, those types of things. Through Monday, our rounds numbers, we were at 16,598 rounds. We do have golfers every single day. Some of them are most of them are past plays out there. They're walking. I do add them in there when they're out there, so we'll continue to do that. To date, I've sold 69 season passes and probably a dozen gift certificates. I will do another big push for Christmas next week, so that'll go out on Facebook, and then I'll email all of our members to let them know that we still have those available in the clubhouse. Questions? Perfect.
All right, open discussion. Jim?
Thank you, sir. Sir. I'll come to the podium. Tim Schwanger, Sandusky. Just a couple of questions here. First of all, on the golf course, the 2023 rates, I realize that we only paid like $9,500 in the black this year. Am I reading this right? For this year versus last year, like $9,500 above what we made last year?
That's revenue. This is just a revenue
Yeah,
statement.
revenue.
This is not an expenditure statement.
Okay.
This is only revenue. So basically, I track revenue.
Yeah,
So
our
we've
revenue
made $9,400 or $388 more than 2021.
Are we still in the black, though, as far as expenses concerned?
No,
Nope.
No?
we are not.
Okay, so that's why you want to do an increase again, like, okay, so we're making sure that we're not at the same price as, like, you know,
Not even close to
Wasika.
Thunderbird, Wasika,
Okay.
none of them. All my comparisons were done to 9 home municipal courses.
okay, perfect.
I compared apples to apples.
Any thought on creating for next year, like a family pass, husband, wife, father, son, mother, daughter?
We had them in the past, and I don't think.
We have a
had-
family pass.
There is a family pass?
There is a family pass.
Okay, I didn't see that on.
Yeah, we do have a family pass.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
It was
65 for 4 persons.
yep.
Max
Family
2
pass, 2 adults, 2 children, or up to 4 people, 665 walking. So we do have a family pass. And actually, I have sold 2 of those this year so far.
Yeah, we just don't see a lot of it.
It's still just like, say like last year, my son and I got we got a pass.
Uh-huh,
There's a savings there if we go in together? Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, perfect. The ice rink, you have a schedule of when it's officially going to be open, like for skate rental. Is it open if I have my own skates, like today, if I want to go down and test my hockey skill?
We haven't had that issue. I mean, because I don't staff it.
The reason and then this goes back to last year, the reason we don't just leave it open and unstaffed is we had kids getting on bikes.
Right.
And just, if you leave the gate open for anybody to use it, just allows them to do anything on it, which they could,
So if I go down, I'd be asked to leave if the police drive through?
I think if, you'd be asked to leave if you were doing something that would,
Right.
Okay, okay, I get that.
No.
I understand, I mean, anything's up for
Sure.
for vandalism, even though that thing's built, you know, more sturdy than what the one we had last year.
Oh, sure.
Okay, it's a heck of a facility. I was down both days on the weekends, it was a great crowd. You know, there was good vendors, I mean, the place was awesome, okay? And I participated with another organization there off of that, you know, on the Jackson Street Pier. And we were able to gather $150 for Karen Share, which was great.
Great.
We didn't do very good at night because, it was, you know, Saturday night because it was dark, but Sunday we did pretty good. The numbers for the marina, are you going to have numbers for the marina next meeting? Do we still track that? Like-
yeah, sorry. I think that was on my list to bring that, so I'll add that to next week's or next month's agenda.
Okay, and on the Midtown Supper Club, you mentioned that there's a interview to get, like interviews. What do we base those interviews on, real quickly? What's the criteria if a child wants to participate?
So they sit down with the chefs, and a lot of them can be returners. We've had 1 or 2 kids that have been part of the program for the past 5 years. It's basically to make sure that they're interested and they're ready. They want to do this because if we have kids in there that don't, like they just want to sign up for a program, they won't stick through it through the 7 weeks. It's pretty, you know, having kids learning how to cut things and do the things that you have in a kitchen and making sure that they're engaged. I think, I don't know if they had anybody that was cut. I think everybody
Everybody made it.
Yeah.
Everybody made it?
Yeah.
So do we make sure that we give kids that did not participate in the past, is there a way to give them first option to opt in versus somebody that's maybe been in it for the last 3 years? Is there?
Well, the kids actually that have been in it, we encourage them to come back because they've got the experience to pass on to even the younger kids that are coming up through the program. So we would encourage the kids that have been in it to continue, and then we bring in the new kids so then they can also be the next generation of coming in for the next year. So we don't keep spots open for either, so they all interviewed kind of the same. So that's how that ended up.
Okay. And along with that program, is there an opportunity then, I think you mentioned earlier, scholarships. Is there scholarships available for that program too?
Yes.
Absolutely.
2 city residents.
Okay, that's great because I don't know, the concern, you know, that I was hearing in the community and on social media is that, $60 can be a lot of money for, this, like we are an entitlement city, which means that we are below,
Sure.
below income. So it's good to hear that there is does anybody take advantage of that?
A lot of
program?
people take advantage
I
of
want to say
it.
we had at least 3 to 4 out of the Midtown Supper Club, or 2.
Yeah, there was 2.
Great. And then the last thing is the fall brawl, of course, that's a fishing tournament we had going on, during the fall. I encouraged the guy that runs the boat ramp to come down today, but he had like 3 or 4 customers coming from out of town, so he can't make it. So I guess I'm here on his behalf and of course, there's no figures tied to this, but I can tell you that tournament is a major economic machine here in Sandusky and for Erie County. He let me know that 90% of the fish were weighed here right in Sandusky. There's another outfit up in Toledo that also weighs fish for the fall brawl, and they had like 2% of the fish weighed there. So everybody was weighing here in Sandusky. They were staying here in Sandusky. They were eating here in Sandusky, buying gas, the whole gambit. And I encouraged him next year to get with the Erie County Shores and Islands to see if they can't do some kind of a study on the economic impact to get some actual dollars, tied to that fall brawl.
Sure.
He also wanted to, the reason why I'm here is because I volunteer for the guy, help out down there with their fishing tournaments and stuff like that. But he appreciated the city this year, I believe, for the first time, waiting a little bit longer to pull the docks up, turn the water off, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So he really appreciated that this year, him and his wife, run it. So other than that, I believe that is all I had to ask.
Were you in charge of weighing the fish?
Actually, I was not. Actually, for that fall brawl, I was not. I went down and watched because my work schedule did not allow me to help with the weigh-in because of scheduling. But he also runs some other tournaments, like he has a kids fishing tournament. I help with that. The National Walleye Trail, the Bass Trail, they come down, and I help with the weigh-in on that. That's a wet job.
I just-
We're not getting paid. It's a
I was
wet
curious.
job.
I was curious as to the problems they've had with weighing the fish thing.
No, that was,
That are loaded
that was
fish.
another county.
Loaded fish.
And
So sad that goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Steve and Tammy have, actually, we've accepted a donation. They gave us some water and some fruit snacks for our camp. I just saw Steve this afternoon, and he's saying a lot of the same talking points. We did try to keep the docks in as long as we could. The water, they did have a little bit of an issue with keeping it on that long, so it's something that I'll talk with Steve about. But they're great to have down there. I actually went down there today so he could sign another year because they had a 1 year plus another 1 year. But he's really supportive of the programs, and it's good to have them down there.
Yeah. They do a fantastic
Great.
job.
Really, really good.
In the past, we had, I think it was the former owners of the Good Time One, the Smiths ran it for a few seasons, and they did a phenomenal job. And for a couple of years, we didn't have anybody running it. And these guys are just phenomenal. They're all about the kids. They take the kids out fishing. It's great to see that.
Really good.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks.
Jen.
I just had something, we took, for school, I took 35 of my autistic unit kids to the gym, and they were there for about an hour and a half or so and had an amazing time.
At Mills?
Uh-huh,
Where?
to the Rose Gold Gymnastics.
Oh, nice,
And
okay.
they had an amazing job, they had so much fun, there's a lot of pictures on our school Facebook. Did they post any on the city rec Facebook? They said they were going to. I have to get to.
We will share, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just share.
It's amazing, the kids' smiles, it was fun.
We should get them to the ice rink possibly.
Pass those out for you.
That's nice guy. Appreciate that.
Can you tell we know what business he's in?
Does everybody get a paper clip?
Yeah, well, I don't know if there's enough for everybody. There's only like 5 or 6 of those. We can share.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like cardstock. That's like 10 pounds or whatever.
Yeah, it's so what's in the drawer. There's enough of the. Should.
Just stand and hold it like Nana?
Sure.
Feel like going to school quick?
Oh, thanks.
So, Greg Hofer. I opened my mouth at a Blue Streak Booster Club meeting about this, and I guess I'm kind of going to do it here as well.
Excuse me, I want to apologize ahead of time that I'm going to have to leave.
Oh, that's fine.
I would really like to be here for this.
Especially Bernie.
You know that. Go ahead, hurry up.
Okay, I'll just pass it. All right, so basically, I know we have Battery Park going to be something done to it. So the courts there are probably going to be removed, I would assume. Sandusky courts, so this, the flyer here that I have with just pictures, this is basically the shape of the courts. I think I took these September or October, I cannot remember. To kind of give you a history, I got involved with the Sandusky tennis program when my daughter was a freshman, and then I helped coach for a couple of years. And when I first started with the girls, just as a dad, it came across to me that these courts were in bad shape. They were pretty rough back in 2014. So I went to a school board meeting and I basically did the same thing. I'm like, hey guys, can we do something with these courts? They're in really bad shape. And I was basically told that we're going to try to do something with a master plan to bring the softball field over and move the tennis court somewhere else. Okay, no problem. And then I had a conversation with Eric Whoopser probably the following year and asked him. I said, Eric, we've got the city courts that are in bad shape. The school courts are in bad shape. Could we get all three entities, Sandusky City Schools, St. Mary's, Sandusky Central Catholic, and the city together and create one tennis court area? And he thought that was a great idea, and I guess it left on the table. And I think shortly after that is when the city resurfaced the courts, I believe, didn't they? Didn't you guys do something to them, like fill the cracks or something?
We filled the cracks.
Yeah, fill the cracks, okay.
And they're bad.
Which is what I was trying to get at least done to the school courts, but they didn't want to do that. So basically, at my 3 years of coaching that I spent helping there, almost every opposing team that came in questioned the condition of the courts, whether they were safe to play on or not. It was really embarrassing for the student athletes to be put in a position where, obviously kids say things to each other. So out of the 9 courts that Sandusky has, 5 of them were playable at the time. And we had to spread it out amongst the 3 rows of 3. And so it made it really difficult for especially a single coach to be able to coach 5 matches that are going on at the same time. So it was just a rough way to go doing that. Today, I don't know, if I was a coach coming in, I don't know that I would want my kids playing on those courts.
You're saying these have been utilized up until?
They're
They're
current.
still using, they got no place else to
Yeah, there's no other place to
For
play.
matches?
Yeah.
Where else would you play?
We're
Yeah.
playing in these conditions?
Yeah.
Well, where else are you gonna play?
These are, they look worse than they are, but they're bad.
They're bad. They're bad. There's some that, they're bad.
He accentuated the bad ones, but yeah.
Well, there's really not any, there's not a good court out there.
So who's responsible for the upkeep?
It's Sandusky City Schools for the
Schools and the city for Battery Park.
Battery Park, the city is. Now, I didn't include Battery Park, because I'm assuming Battery Park's all but gone. So my question is, in the sheet, the bigger sheets, I did a very scientific Google Earth, not to scale. So basically, I just wanted to see where could we put 9 courts or 8 courts. So I started playing around, and I didn't, scale the images down or anything like that. So they should be somewhat close to each other in size. Just to see where could we put courts, whether it's on city property or school property. So that's what I did. I just kind of the one is the Strobel Field parking lot. You could get, I think I have 9 courts there. So just different areas that could be utilized for courts, knowing that the school is going to want to bring back the softball field to the high school. So, so I just threw those together just to get some thought as to where things might be able to be placed. Ideally, if both schools are gonna be utilizing it and the kids of the city, centrally located would be nice, just so that everybody has a fair, chance at getting there.
Did you come up with a solution?
I don't have a solution. That's out of my fair grade. I'm just throwing ideas out.
Okay, if I can, I'm sorry if I interrupt.
No, you're fine.
Because I'm going to throw a couple things out and then I got to go.
Go.
Yeah, so you're talking about we have 9 courts, which was as great a thing as you could possibly have. We had the best facility going back. There was nobody better.
Right.
People would come in and say, I can't believe this is here at Sandusky. We had the district tournaments here. Everything. So the 9 courts are great. If you're going to put in some courts, you don't want to put in less than 8.
Correct.
There's no way you want to go, if you're going to do it, obviously, if that's the best you can do, but you gotta have at least, the number is at least 8. If you're gonna have a tournament, have any kind of tournaments come in, at least 8. So that's the magic number.
Correct.
And whatever it takes to get to that. But,
Okay.
and I thank you ahead of time for what you did here.
Yep.
That's great. You know that I'm involved.
I know. So that's why I tried to keep the numbers at 8 or 9, not 5.
Again, I apologize.
Yep, thank you.
So what's wrong with the property next door to where the tennis courts are now? That
I
can't be
think
purchased?
that is, I can't remember the whole, I might be getting it wrong, but I believe it is owned privately. I don't know if it can be purchased or not, or if it's gonna be purchased and can be used for something, again, softball, baseball.
But there is some city property there, because there used to be a rail spur
Yeah, the north side of it.
on the north side of that property. Used to be a rail spur through there. The city does own some of that property.
But not enough for,
Not enough.
And- And I don't know if I get into too much of it, but we were talking about the conversations with Eric. I know we had conversations with both schools probably in 2019. And I think we were on a good path at that point, and then the bottom dropped out of everything. So we know that tennis courts are in the near future. They're in our, capital planning discussions every single time. It's skate park, which is underway, rec center, which is going to be underway, and then tennis courts are right there as well. So those are the big 3.
So
And
where's the skate park going?
this is bringing back flashbacks of
Where's the skate
me
park
doing
going?
this 3 or 4 years ago, where the tennis courts could actually go and doing the Google thing. And the skate park is still
Remains
slated to be right there
same
behind,
location.
Stay there?
yeah,
Yeah.
behind the Justice Center.
So why couldn't they keep the tennis courts there?
The tennis courts are on the leased property,
Leased property.
to the north of the city's parking lot there.
the city has 5 courts.
They're actually Battery Park.
Well,
They're
yeah,
part of the
yeah,
Battery
okay,
Park
Battery
property.
Park
We kind of
courts.
help maintain them because Battery Park,
I called it the city courts, I should have.
yeah, we help crack seal. We kind of helped get the nets up and down, but that was just to help out Sandusky Central Catholic.
Right.
They borrowed one of our playground boxes to put all their equipment in, and they used those courts, which there could be a discussion of which courts are in worse shape, but it's something
High
that.
school went. You guys at least filled the cracks in. So yeah, there's 5 courts there. It takes 5 courts to run a match, a varsity match. But if you're gonna combine the schools together on one set of courts and have practice for all of the kids, you really need 8 courts, in my opinion, at least. 8 courts is basically, kind of Bernie alluded to, is what you need for sectionals and districts, tournaments. And I went through a bunch of the area schools just to kind of give court numbers. Clyde has 6, Bellevue's 5, Norwalk will be 8. I think they're finishing up theirs for this year or next year. Port Clinton has 8, Fremont 8, Huron 5, Edison 5, Willard 6, Shelby 8, and Vermillion 6. That kind of gives you an idea. And I'm not sure how many of those have parochial schools that are sharing courts too. So I guess my question is there, knowing that the courts are going to be removed at Battery Park shortly, these courts are in such horrible shape.
So that's a done deal, what you're telling us?
I don't know. I'm assuming, because the way everything's wording in the paper as far as what's going to happen at Battery Park, it just makes sense that it would be. Can courts be somehow fast-tracked to be rebuilt? Or built, I should say.
That's part of, that's with the rec center RFQ and the location of that is contingent on contingent on where the tennis courts could go and where that, whether it's city property or which city property. I know we've even looked at that JC property as well, but that section of JC Park is actually owned by the church that's right there.
Yeah, I figured it was
But-
sitting empty.
But I mean, all these are great, it's great for us to have to discuss, because I know, like I said, tennis courts are in the capital plan. It's just getting the location set and getting them put in.
So, again, I would encourage you to go into the courts and take a look at, not, I know you have and everything else, but the other people who may not have, go to the walk the courts. Yes, the pictures, I did, zoom in on some of them and all that, but they are as bad as they look. And for a safety reason, I don't know that I would have my athletes playing on those courts if I was still coaching. So that's my presentation.
Well, thanks, Craig.
Thanks for all the hard work.
For the rec center?
It's part of the
That's part of the
RFQ,
RFQ.
is getting that location set.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
In other words, we don't have a location yet.
There's several options, it's just
Been
making
several
sure that-
options that have been brought to the table, but we have to make sure, especially like I'll use the American Crayon site as an example. We couldn't put the Justice Center on there for particular reasons, so we got to make sure that if that becomes the site that the community would like it to be located at, we got to make sure that we can build a recreational center there as well. And then depending on the size, that may or may not allow for the 8 tennis courts on that particular piece of property.
And parking
And parking.
for both.
And aren't we proposing pickleball courts as well?
Pickleball courts will be
Inside the tennis courts,
inside the tennis courts, yes.
but is that different lines?
They have different lines.
Yes,
Different lines?
Yeah.
yes, they have different lines.
Two pickleball courts per tennis court.
Correct.
So you might designate
Correct.
some pickleball on 2 of the courts, so when you don't have high school going on, those could be utilized for that. Yep.
Yeah, I know this is not a city commission meeting, but can I ask another couple questions, maybe? All right. Yeah, I just wanted to add to Craig's issue at the courts. I was down this past summer talking to the St. Mary's coach, and he said that, I believe it was Oak Harbor or Clyde, the girls now, when they came in to play on our courts right at City Hall, former City Hall, that they refused to play. So I don't know if they ended up forfeiting, or if they played somewhere else, to follow up on that. The other issue is, speaking of the rec center, is it off the table or still on the table to just upgrade Mills as the rec center, or is that completely wiped off the table?
That's potentially one of the options, yes.
That is still a viable option? Okay, thank you, appreciate the second half.
Anything else?
Are we just in open?
Yeah.
Any word on AMVets? What they're doing, who's doing? I see they're asking for board members, some are putting,
Did you apply?
All I can tell you is they're looking for people again. It's just like a,
No, I've had people ask me if I know people, I'm not joking about the applying, because I've had other people come to me and say, I want to get involved with AMVets, how do I do that? And I gave them the information. So they do need some board members. There's going to be a league, as far as I know, for this year, so we'll be working through prior use agreements here in January, February, and I'll know more once I talk to, if it's Lamarcus is still the contact, or if they have a different board president. Do you want me to report back to this group?
what?
Want me to report back to this group with the status of?
Yeah.
Okay.
I still like the idea of the city being involved, but I know it would require a worker being the umbrella. It's always nice when there's conflict of interest or conflict of rules. If there's someone that can, these are the rules and this is what we have to do. We can't just change them because somebody wants to do something different, or a concrete person that can say yes or no, that,
Well, there's still,
knows the bylaws.
the AMVets is its own league and has its own board,
Is the
and
AMVets taking it back over this coming year?
you mean the the bill,
The one
the,
that is playing, not, yeah, the one that was there last year. Are they coming back and renewing their contract?
that's what I'm going to find out. I'm pretty sure that I didn't hear anything different, that they wouldn't be back to have the league back next year. So I can report back, because it'll be them, Panther Baseball, the Lady Lightning, and then 2 prior use agreements with the schools for Dorn Park.
A lot of kids want to play baseball in the
Mhm.
summer and can't go out to Sports Force.
On that note, I would say that we have had some people interested in renting mills, and we've already had them in renting the gym space and the rec room space, and one was a baseball team
Club
was
or
coming
group,
in,
travel team, yeah.
and then some basketball.
That's good.
So we're bringing that building to life. Any other open discussion?
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Need a second.
Who was second?
You.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
You're adjourned.